All right, so we're diving deep today
Okay.
into a research paper that you sent over.
Okay.
It's called State Space Models Can Learn in Context by Gradient Descent.
Sounds fascinating.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it's all about,
Yeah.
how AI models might learn in a new way.
Okay.
And honestly, it could be a real game changer.
Well, and what's really exciting is that this paper is about state space models,
Yeah.
or SSMs, as I'm sure we'll end up calling them.
Right.
And these are a kind of neural network
Okay.
that could be a lot more efficient than the transformer models that we hear so much about these days,
Uh-huh.
especially when it comes to this idea of in-context learning.
In context learn. I mean, that sounds complicated.
It sounds complicated, but it's actually simpler than you might think.
Okay.
Think about how you learn a new skill just by watching someone else do it.
Oh,
Like, let's say you're trying to learn how to cook
okay.
and you're watching a friend in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You're not really getting like step-by-step instructions, but you're picking things up just by observing.
Right, by seeing what they're doing.
Exactly. Seeing the ingredients, how they move around, all
Yeah.
of that.
I got it, yeah.
That's basically in-context learning.
Ah, okay. So you're
Mhm.
saying these SSMs, they can do something kind of similar,
Yeah,
but in a more efficient way than transformers? Is that what you're getting at?
exactly. Transformers, they are really amazing at in-context learning,
Uh-huh.
but they use a ton of computing power.
Oh, really?
It's like they need an entire power plant just to run.
Wow.
And the problem is the more data you feed them, the more power they need.
Okay.
And that need grows very quickly.
I see. So where do these SSMs fit into all of this?
SSMs are like the energy-efficient alternative.
Okay.
They can handle growing amounts of data
Okay.
without needing like a huge surge in computing power.
Interesting.
And this paper that we're looking at today,
Yeah.
this reveals a pretty surprising discovery about SSMs.
Oh.
It turns out that SSMs, with a little bit of help from something called local self-attention, can actually mimic the process of gradient descent.
Wait, gradient descent, isn't that like the engine behind how AI learns?
You got it.
Okay.
It's that optimization process
Yeah.
that lets machines learn from data.
Yeah.
And get this, the researchers actually proved mathematically
Okay.
that a single SSM layer
Okay.
with this local self-attention
Uh-huh.
can reproduce the outputs of a basic linear model
Okay.
trained with gradient descent.
Wow, that's a
Yeah,
pretty big deal.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's like they found a shortcut
Yeah.
to learning.
It's fascinating.
Absolutely. And it gets even cooler. So imagine the
Yeah.
SSM's internal state.
Okay.
It's like a notebook
Okay.
where it jots down important learnings
Uh-huh.
as it processes data.
Okay.
So this notebook, or internal state, acts like a gradient accumulator.
Okay.
It keeps track of how the parameters
Yes.
of what's called an implicit linear model
Mm-hmm.
should change
Okay.
based on the data it's seen.
So it's like running its own little training session inside.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It's learning as it goes.
That's really amazing.
And then by stacking multiple SSM layers,
Okay.
you can perform multiple steps
Okay.
of gradient descent,
Okay.
essentially refining that learning process with each layer.
I see. So SSMs can handle this basic linear learning,
Right.
but what about more complex scenarios?
That's a great point.
Because the real world, I mean, it isn't always so straightforward.
You're absolutely right.
It's not always linear. Right.
The real world is messy.
Yeah.
So that's where the researchers took things a step further.
Okay.
They wanted to see if SSMs could handle nonlinear problems,
Okay.
which is like situations where the relationship between the input and the output isn't a straight line.
Right.
It's curvy, it's unpredictable.
Got it.
So to do this, they brought in MLPs.
MLPs. What are those?
So you can think of MLPs as giving the SSM the
Right.
ability to handle more complex,
Okay.
curvy relationships
Okay.
in the data.
I see.
They give the SSMs more flexibility to tackle a wider range of problems.
So it's like they're like a power-up that lets the SSM level up its learning abilities or something?
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And, you know, the researchers didn't just stop at theory here.
Right.
They actually put these souped-up SSMs to the test.
Okay.
They trained them on real regression tasks,
Okay.
both linear and nonlinear.
Uh-huh. And so what happened? Did they pass the test?
They passed with flying colors.
Wow.
The parameters learned by the SSM
Okay.
perfectly matched
Right.
what their theoretical model predicted.
So that suggests
Yeah.
that SSMs really are performing this
Right.
implicit gradient descent,
Exactly.
learning from the data in a way that, really lines up with
Yes.
our understanding of machine learning.
It's very exciting.
It is exciting. So we have SSMs that can potentially learn in context, just like transformers,
Yeah.
but in a much more efficient way.
Way more efficient.
What does this mean for dealing with real-world data, especially like massive streams of information?
Right.
Think about time series data, natural language. I mean, I'm already starting to see the possibilities.
Yeah, you're definitely thinking along the right lines.
Yeah.
So remember how we talked about transformers being like the current stars of in-context learning?
Yeah.
Well, there's actually a whole world of research
Yeah.
dedicated to understanding how they do it.
Uh,
And guess what? It turns out there's a strong connection
hmm.
to this whole idea of gradient descent.
Really? So this isn't just a coincidence. Gradient descent might be like a fundamental principle behind how lots of different AI models learn.
If that's what the research seems to be suggesting, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty cool. There's a fascinating study from 2023
Okay.
by Von Oswald and some other folks
Yeah.
that really dug deep into this connection.
Yeah.
They showed that transformers, especially those using linear self-attention,
Okay.
can mimic gradient descent on a linear loss function.
Okay, remind me, what is linear self-attention again?
Oh, it's basically a simplified version
Uh-huh.
of the attention mechanism
Right.
that really powers transformers.
Okay.
So instead of using the more common softmax function,
Uh-huh.
which introduces some non-linearity,
Oh.
it relies on just straightforward linear algebra.
So the study showed that even with this simplified attention mechanism,
Right.
transformers can still pull off in-context learning.
Yep.
Just by implicitly doing gradient descent.
Exactly. And it really adds more weight to the idea
Right.
that this gradient descent mechanism is like deeply embedded
Uh-huh.
in how these models learn.
It's like it was a secret ingredient that's been there the whole time.
Yeah. But you mentioned linear self-attention.
Yeah.
And that's not quite as powerful as the
Exactly.
softmax version that's usually used.
Yeah, so does that mean that the whole gradient descent connection falls apart when we bring softmax back into the picture?
That's a great question, and it doesn't.
Mm.
While linear self-attention
Right,
is
so-
easier to analyze mathematically,
It doesn't quite match the performance of softmax self-attention
right?
in real-world applications.
Right, of course, yeah.
But the connection to gradient descent is still there.
Okay, so how does gradient descent fit in with these more complex softmax-based transformers?
That's where things get a little bit more challenging
Yeah.
to analyze mathematically.
I bet.
However, there's a 2024 paper
Yeah.
by Okurek and colleagues that helps to unpack this a bit.
Okay.
They argue that in-context learning in transformers, even with softmax attention,
Right.
likely involves something very similar
Okay.
to gradient descent,
Uh-huh.
but with a few added nuances.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of nuances?
Well, they suggest that these transformers
Yeah.
are essentially optimizing an internal objective function, which is a fancy way of saying they're trying to minimize some measure of error.
Got it.
And this optimization process closely resembles gradient descent,
Uh-huh.
but the exact form of this objective function.
Is still a bit of a mystery.
So they're running their own internal training,
Yes.
but we don't fully understand the rule book yet.
That's a great way to put it. It's kind of a black box for now,
Yeah.
but we're getting closer to cracking the code.
Right, to understanding what's going on in there.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's circle back to SSMs for a second.
Okay.
You mentioned there's some other research that links them
Uh-huh.
to this idea of online optimization.
You're right. There are two papers from 2024,
Okay.
one by Lewins and colleagues, and another one by Sun and colleagues,
Okay.
that explore this connection.
Okay.
They really dive deep into how SSMs can be seen as performing online optimization.
Okay, break that down for me. What is online optimization?
Okay, so imagine you're learning something new,
Okay.
but instead of getting all the information at once,
Yeah.
you're getting it bit by bit,
Okay.
like puzzle pieces being
Uh-huh.
revealed one at a time.
Okay.
Online optimization is all about adjusting your understanding
Okay.
as you
Got it.
constantly updating your knowledge with each new piece of information.
So it's like learning on the fly.
Exactly.
Something as you encounter new data.
Right.
It's kind of like improvising a recipe as you cook.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And these papers show that SSMs, with their internal state
Right.
that's constantly being updated,
Right.
can be viewed as doing a form of online optimization.
Huh. That's interesting. So I'm starting to see a pattern here. It seems like this idea of optimization,
Yeah.
whether it's the gradient descent or online methods, it's like a common thread that runs through all these different AI models.
Yeah, definitely. Like they're all searching for the best solution,
Right.
but just taking different paths to get there.
Exactly. And the fact that we're seeing it in both transformers and SSMs
Yeah.
suggests that it might be even more widespread than we initially thought.
Yeah, maybe it's a key to unlocking even more powerful
Right.
and efficient AI in the future.
Wow. That's pretty mind-blowing.
It's definitely exciting.
It is exciting, but I have to admit it's also a little daunting.
I understand.
I mean, with any really powerful technology, there's always that sense of responsibility
Absolutely.
that comes with it.
Right.
It's crucial that these increasingly intelligent AI systems are developed and used ethically
Absolutely.
for the benefit of humanity.
Couldn't agree more.
It's like, we're handing over the keys
Right.
to a powerful engine,
Yeah.
and we need to make sure there's a responsible driver behind the wheel.
Well said.
These
It's a
days.
collective effort for sure.
It is.
A journey we need to take together.
Yeah. And this research paper, to its exploration of SSMs and in-context learning,
Right.
it feels like a significant step forward.
I think so too.
It's really sparked my curiosity.
Good.
I can't wait to see what new discoveries and innovations emerge in this area.
Me too. It's a really exciting time to be witnessing
Yeah,
this evolution of AI.
it is.
Who knows what groundbreaking applications await us?
Yeah, I mean, who knows what's right around the corner?
Exactly. But one thing's for sure. The future of AI is bright. And this whole idea of in-context learning powered by advancements like SSMs, I think it's going to play a really big role.
Absolutely. It's been incredible exploring this research with you.
It's been fun.
As always, we want to hear from you, our listeners.
Yes.
What were your biggest takeaways from this deep dive?
What stood out to you?
What questions are still swirling around in your mind?
Let us know.
Let us know, and perhaps, we'll tackle those questions in a
Yeah.
future episode.
That's a great idea.
Until then, keep exploring.
Keep learning.
And keep that AI curiosity burning bright.
Absolutely.
You're thinking along the right lines.
Uh-huh.
If we connect these findings
Yeah.
to the bigger picture, I mean, the potential applications are mind-boggling.
Totally, especially when we consider how efficient SSMs are
Right.
at handling these long sequences of data. I mean, that's really where they shine.
So give me an example. What kind of real-world problems could actually benefit from this?
Well, let's take natural language processing, for example.
Okay.
We could see even more powerful language models
Yeah.
that can understand and generate human-like text.
Uh-huh.
I mean, not just short snippets, but like entire books or lengthy conversations.
Mhm.
SSMs could be the key to AI systems
Okay.
that can really grasp those nuances and complexities of human language.
It's like giving AI the ability to read and comprehend like we do.
Exactly.
That's incredible. What about other areas?
Sure.
Where else could this long-range data processing come in handy?
Well, fields like finance and healthcare immediately come to mind.
Okay.
Think about financial models that can predict market trends with incredible accuracy
Right.
by analyzing years of historical data.
It's like they're seeing the future of the market.
Right. Or imagine medical AI that can create personalized treatment plans
Okay, yeah.
by processing a patient's entire medical history,
Wow.
recognizing patterns and connections that we as humans might miss.
That's powerful stuff.
SSMs could unlock
Yeah, a whole new level of insight from these complex long-term dependencies.
Right. It's like we're on the verge of a whole new era of AI
Yeah.
where machines can finally grasp
I know.
those long-term patterns
Least exciting.
that have eluded them for so long.
Uh-huh.
It's exciting, but I have to admit,
Yeah.
it's also a little bit daunting.
I understand. With any powerful technology, there's
Yeah.
always that sense of responsibility that
Yeah.
comes along with it. We
Mm.
have to make sure
Yeah.
that these increasingly intelligent AI systems
Right.
are developed and used ethically.
Right. For the benefit of humanity.
Right, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like we're handing over the keys
Uh-huh.
to this really powerful engine,
Right.
and we need to make sure there's a responsible driver behind the wheel.
Well said. It's definitely a journey we need to embark on together.
Yeah.
And this research paper with its exploration of SSMs and
Right.
in-context learning, it feels like a significant step forward. It really does. It certainly sparked my curiosity.
Good.
Really eager to see what new discoveries and innovations emerge in the coming years.
Me too. It's a really exciting time to be following this field.
It is. It really is. Yeah, it does feel like we've only just scratched the surface here.
I know, right?
We've explored this fascinating world of SSMs
Mm-hmm.
and their potential for in-context learning
Yeah.
and how they can mimic gradient descent.
Right.
But where does this all lead us?
That's the big question.
What kind of impact could these advancements actually have on the
Right.
real world?
Well, if we try to connect these findings to the bigger picture,
Okay.
I think the potential applications are just mind-boggling.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Especially when we think about how efficient SSMs are
Right.
at handling long sequences of data.
Yeah, that's where they really shine.
Absolutely.
So give me an example. What kind of real-world problem could benefit from this?
Well, imagine the possibilities in natural language processing.
Right.
We could see even more powerful language models
Ah,
that can really understand and generate human-like text.
okay.
Not just short snippets,
Right.
but like entire books or lengthy conversations.
Wow.
SSMs could be the key to AI systems
Yeah.
that truly grasp the nuances and complexities
Yeah.
of human language.
It's like giving AI the ability to actually read
Yeah,
and comprehend like we do.
totally.
That's pretty incredible. What about other areas? Where else could this long-range data processing be useful?
Well, fields like finance and healthcare immediately come to mind.
Okay.
I mean, think about financial models that can predict market trends with incredible accuracy
Yeah.
just by analyzing years of historical data.
It's like they can see the future of the market.
Yeah, kind of. Or imagine medical AI
Okay.
that can create personalized treatment plans
Uh-huh.
by processing a patient's entire medical history,
Wow.
recognizing patterns and connections
Yeah.
that we as humans might miss.
That's powerful stuff.
Yet SSMs could unlock a whole new level of insight
Right.
from these complex, long-term dependencies in data.
It's like we're on the verge of a whole new era of AI where machines can finally grasp
It's pretty exciting.
these long-term patterns that have eluded them for so long.
It is.
It's exciting, but I have to admit,
Yeah.
it's also a little bit daunting.
I get that.
With any powerful technology, there's always this sense of responsibility,
Of course.
that comes with it.
Absolutely.
We need to make sure that these increasingly intelligent AI systems
Right.
are developed and used ethically.
Absolutely. Ethically and responsibly.
Yeah, for the benefit of humanity.
Yes, exactly.
It's like we're handing over the keys to a
Yeah.
powerful engine,
Right.
and we need to make sure there's a really responsible driver behind the wheel.
A very responsible driver. Couldn't have said it better myself.
This research paper,
Yeah.
with its exploration of SSMs and in-context learning, it
Yeah.
feels like a significant step forward.
Definitely.
It sparked my curiosity, for sure.
That's great to hear.
I can't wait to see what new discoveries and innovations emerge in this area.
I know. It's such an exciting time to be following all of this.
It really is. It's been incredible exploring this research with you.
The pleasure's all mine.
As always, we want to hear from you, our listeners.
Yes. Tell us what you think.
What were your biggest takeaways from our deep dive?
What really stood out to you?
What questions are still swirling around in your mind?
Let us know.
Let us know, and, maybe we'll tackle those questions in a future episode.
Absolutely.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that AI curiosity burning bright.
Couldn't agree more.